Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com. Today we're going to be learning Amazing Grace, and this arrangement has a swung feel, so it's not the most traditional, straightforward arrangement, but as you're probably aware, you've heard 1,000 versions of Amazing Grace and 1,000 interpretations throughout your life, so everyone plays it a little bit different, and I think putting the swung feel in it adds a pretty unique touch, I would say. So I want you guys to keep that in mind. We're going to break down and understand and explain how to play swung eighth notes right before we start this lesson. So we'll talk about that in a second if it's something you've never done before. But before we get started, this arrangement has 3 melodies, an A melody, a B melody, and a C melody. In this lesson, we're going to be learning the first 8 bars for the A melody. And if you guys want to learn the rest of the tune, you can do so in part 2 of the lesson, available at rockclass101.com. You'll also be able to get the complete tabs to follow along with and print out, as well as access to the on-screen tab viewer, which is really cool. You can literally hit play with this YouTube performance or listen to just the audio of me playing the uke alone, and you can slow it down to whatever speed you want while you watch the tab scroll across in real time. You can even highlight bars to loop sections. It's just a really cool asset in learning this tune that much quicker. So all of that is available at rockclass101.com. So let's kick into this lesson, which is part 1. So in part 1, again, we're learning the first 8 bars of the A melody. But before we begin, let's talk about that swung eighth note feel. So with a swung eighth note feel, the first note lasts longer than the second note, right? Most of the time we're playing straight eighth notes where they're both the same length of time, right? So think of this, if I was to play straight eighth notes, it sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So everything lasts the same amount of time. There's no difference, right? But with swung, we have this feel. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So you can hear that that first note is going to last longer than the second note. So let's do a little analogy. Let's think of it as money, right? If I've got 50 cents in this hand and 50 cents in this hand, I have $1, right? That is how I want you to think of straight eighth notes. The first eighth note is my left hand, the second eighth note is my right hand. 50-50, equal amount of money, equal amount of time, right? Now, if I kick a quarter over here, now I've got 75 in the first note, 25 in the second note, right? Now the first note has more money in it, the second note has less. So the first note's going to last longer than the second note, right? And that is what swung eighth notes is. So again, swung, ba, da, 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 right? Count it 1 and 2 and 3 and, right? Versus straight 50-50. Here is straight 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's a simple analogy that helps really hit home with how I want you guys to remember and think of that swung feel, because this whole tune relies on you playing with that feel. Right? So if it's something you've never done, just work on one note at a time and match that feel that I just did. So let's go ahead and kick into our lesson now. And I'm going to play the first 8 bars, and then we're going to break it down and learn it bar by bar, like we always do. So here we go, first 8 bars of the A melody. Alright guys, so that's basically how our first 8 bars sound. So let's go ahead and break it down into sections now. I'm going to play the pickup measure, which is literally only 2 notes, and then the first bar, and then we're going to talk about how I'm playing it and learn it. So here we go, pickup plus the first bar. Okay, so our pickup note is only 2 notes. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit our 3rd string open, and then we're going to hammer on to the 2nd fret of string 3, right? So it's just a hammer on 0 to 2 on string 3. Alright, and from there, what we're going to do is go ahead and make an F chord. Right, right? Lift your middle finger up and go ahead and put your ring finger on the 3rd fret of string 1. Think of this as a variation on F, right? But go ahead and memorize this shape. So we've got index on 1 on string 2 and our 3rd finger on 3 on string 1, right? And the rest are open. So what I'm going to go ahead and play is just the first half of bar 1 using this variation on F. So what I've got is plucking strings 3 and 2 together, and then I'm going to hit the open 3rd, and then I'm going to pluck strings 1 and 2 together, and then hit the open 3rd again. So I have, right, and the whole time I want to keep these 2 fingers down though. So again I have 1 and 2 and, right, and remember that swung feel, right? So if I add the pickup plus that, I have, again, one more time. Okay, next we're going to take our index, go ahead and bar it on the 3rd fret of strings 1 and 2, and we're going to do a hammer-on to a pull-off. So what we're going to do is we're going to pluck 1 and 2, right? It's just double 3s, and then we're going to take our ring finger, hammer on to 5 on string 2, and then pull off to the barred 3 on string 2. Right, so it sounds like that. Okay, and then after that you're going to take that ring finger and play 5 on string 3 once. So now I have, right? And one thing we can do too is we can even like do a hammer on, and then we can pluck again the double 3, and then we can go to 5 on string 3. So you have an option. You could do a hammer on pull off, or you can do a hammer on, pluck, and then do the 5, right? So there's the hammer on pull off versus plucking, right? So we have a hammer on, pluck, 5. So, you know, while I tab this out, there's always variations you guys can throw onto the playing. You know, it doesn't have to be 100% identical to how I do it. And if we were to watch the performance video, I probably always play certain phrases maybe with a little variation here and there. I try and play it 100% accurate to what I write most of the time, but sometimes, you know, little variations come out in our playing. And that's kind of what makes like your favorite players great. They have so many subtleties, and every time you hear them perform the same song, there's always 1 or 2 little things that are different in their playing, and that's what makes it interesting. So again, we'll play it slow, pickup plus bar 1. Okay, let's slow it down actually more. One more time. Okay, here's what bar 2 sounds like. Alright, so we have a hammer on this one, and it's a bit tricky. So let's do this. Go ahead and make a basic F chord. Add your 3rd finger to the 3rd fret of string 3. And now we have an F7, so it's just a dominant version of the F chord. Alright, here's the tricky part. You're going to basically, you can pluck all 4 strings, and we're going to hammer on. So lift that middle finger up. So you're going to basically either pluck, or you can do a strum and hammer on to the 2nd fret of string 4. Right? So we can strum or we can pluck, whatever's most comfortable. Watch how that change happens from the last part of bar 1. Right, so I was strumming on that one. Right, so this one's really tricky. So what you want to practice is going from the end of bar 1 to sliding your hand down. Watch how that hand slides down, right? 3rd finger stays the same, index lifts up from being a bar, right? So index lifts up from being a bar down to the 1st fret, and then 3rd finger stays the same, and then we add that hammer on to the 2nd fret. Okay, so from there, I'm just going to keep my middle finger where it's at. So we've got that basic F7 shape now, and we're going to play out of it. So I'm going to hit the 3rd string, and then I'm going to play strings 1 and 2 together, and then back to the 3rd string. So let's just take that part. So we have, okay, again. So I have the hammer on, 3, pluck, 3, and then I'm going to pluck 4 and 1, but I'm going to lift that middle finger up so they're both open, and then play string 3 again. So that's that full bar. Again, hammer on. 3, pluck, 3, pluck, 3. Okay? So let's take it from the first part. So that pickup to bar 1 and 2. Slow down. Okay, from here we've got a B flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay our index finger flat on the first fret of strings 1 and 2, add your middle finger to the second fret of string 3, and our fourth string is going to be open. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and strum all 4. And that's what that bar sounds like, right? So it's basically playing out of that bar again. So we have strum, and then we're going to lift the middle finger up, go 0 to 2 on string 3. So it's like a hammer on. Okay, and then we're going to pluck strings 1 and 2, which is barred, and then we're going to do a quick hit. So this one's going to be a hammer on, only on string 2, so you hammer on to the 3rd fret. And then lift up, pluck strings 1 and 2, and then go back to the 2nd fret of string 3. So get that in your head. Ba-da-dum. Okay, again. Okay, so the next one is actually pretty easy. This next bar is just going to be highlighting an F chord, but what we're going to do is we can just keep our first finger on the 1st fret of string 2, and we're just going to go open strings, 3, 1, 3, and then string 2, which is the 1st fret. So it sounds like that with the swing. And then we have 0 to 2, just like that pickup measure had 0 to 2. Okay, so now we have this. We have the first 4 bars. So let's do this. Let's play bars 3 and 4 though, and then we'll play 1 through 4. Okay, there's 3 through 4, and now pick up and 1 through 4. Okay, and there's 1 through 4, so we're halfway through for the first 8 bars. So our next bar, bar 5, is going to be playing basically identical to the first bar we did. The one thing I notated different, if you're following with the tab, is basically the first hit, instead of playing 3 and 2 together, I'm only going to be playing string 2. So here's how bar 5 sounds. Right, so the only difference is that I wrote that I'm playing only string 2 first hit, then 3, plucking, back to 3, and then we have that little hammer-on licks. So it's the same as bar 1, so we're not going to cover it too much, right guys? So look at the next bar, bar 6, and we are going into a D minor chord, right? So our basic D minor, it's if we made an F chord and we put our ring finger underneath our middle finger, we have a basic D minor. What we're going to do for this one though is we're going to lift that ring finger up, drop that middle finger to the 2nd fret of string 3, and we can actually play all 4, so our 4th string will be open. Okay? So think of it as like a little variation on a D minor. So this bar sounds like... Okay, so what's happening here is I've got strum, 3, 2, 3, and then I'm going to play a triplet. I've got string 2, string 4, string 1, right? So I have strum, 3, 2, 3, 2, 4, 1, right? And everything's playing straight out of that variation on that D minor, so we're not adding any fingers or anything. Okay, slower. Okay, next we go into a basic C. So our basic C, we're just going to strum 3, 4, 3, and then we're going to go 3 to 5 on string 1. So it's just going to be a slide. Okay? So the important thing too to remember for that slide is we want to try and keep that swung feel. Okay, we don't want to go where we just slide real fast like, right? So try and keep that da-da. Try and keep that swung feel for everything, even if it's a hammer-on or a pull-off or a slide. We always want to keep that swung feel. So let's look at the last bar, bar 8. We've got a C7. It's not the basic C7. We're going to do a bar chord. So take your index, lay it flat on the 3rd fret, all 4 strings, and then add your middle finger to the 4th fret of string 3. Okay? So for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to strum all 4, and then we're going to play 4, 3, 4, right, out of that chord, and then add your ring finger to 5 on string 2, and slide 5 to 6. So it sounds like that. Okay, so that one's probably tricky because it's got that bar chord, right? One more time. Okay, so now we have bars 5 through 8, right? So let me go ahead and play 5 through 8, and then we're going to cover 1 through 8 again. So here we go, starting with 5. Okay, and I'll go ahead and play everything all the way through again slowly. Okay guys, so that's basically how our first 8 bars for the A melody sounds. And like I said in the beginning of the video, if you guys enjoy this lesson and you want to learn the second half of it, you can do so in part 2 of the lesson, available at rockclass101.com. There we'll be covering the last 8 bars for the A melody, plus the entire B and the C melody. So we'll be learning the complete arrangement step by step, just like we did in this video. And you can also get the complete tabs to print out and follow along with, as well as access to that on-screen tab viewer. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you in our next one. Thanks!